this episode, I interview Eric Lyman. He studied mechanical engineering at San Diego State, and now he works as an air traffic controller. Hello, my name is Connor Dixon. I'm here with Eric Lyman, an aerospace engineer turned air traffic controller. Eric, what inspired you to become an engineer? And then after that, what inspired you to become an air traffic controller after becoming an engineer?
Well, Connor, so my dad, he worked for Hughes Aircraft, and growing up, my dad was a big influence on what inspired me to become an engineer. Sorry, I got a dog in the back. um, but two kids too now. But yeah, so my dad was a big influence. And growing up, I learned to fly with my dad and my uncle, and we have a lot of history of pilots in the family, and so I kind of was always around aviation and working on airplanes when I was younger, and so really my dad was my biggest inspiration on getting into engineering. And one of the things when I was picking a major, and I went to San Diego State, was I was I was looking at because it was really difficult to get into San Diego State back then, and now I know it's probably even harder. But the amount of people applying for aerospace engineering weren't that many, so I was able to get accepted. I think a big part of that had to do with picking that major of aerospace engineering as well. And so so to answer your question, yeah, my dad was a big influence, and had a better shot of getting into San Diego State picking space engineering.
And what was your experience like at San Diego State? And then I know after that you went to get your MBA as well at Redlands. So what was your experiences like there as well? It's two different, completely different experiences in college from engineering and business.
Right. So so at San Diego State, so it took me 5 years to get through the program. And I'm looking back at it, it's been a while since I've been there, but I graduated in '08. And there were a lot of group study efforts, a lot of we call them all-nighters, studying for finals. Um, I was fortunate the first couple of years, my parents really helped me through college, and then the last three, I worked various jobs, and I was even a resident advisor at the International House 1 year, and that was a cool gig because it paid for my room and board and food, so that was a huge expense. So I took advantage of some of the things that San Diego State offered to help me get through school, and one of the things what will happen is if you're in a position where you're needing to work while you're at college, it's going to affect your grades. It just is. You're just not going to have as much time. You're going to be more tired to really perform at the peak levels at school. But it turned out okay for me at San Diego State. I was able to get. I did a couple of internships while I was at San Diego State. During the summer, I went to Wichita and I worked for Hawker Beechcraft for a summer, and that was really eye opening. That was really a great experience. And so San Diego State. So I went and I worked with your dad at C&D Aerospace for a few years, and so I transitioned. I worked there doing aircraft interiors, and we used to joke it was it was high tech furniture, but it was still a fun job. I learned a lot. I was a young engineer. I really, I had a lot of good mentors there. Andrew Pasillo and Brett Fontaine. Those guys really, that was a big part of. I might not have been an A+ student at San Diego State, but I had a few contacts that gave me an opportunity to work for them. So that was really cool. So networking is huge. I think what you're doing now is great. This is a great project. But so after I left C&D and the interiors of aircraft, I wanted to move on, and the decision to move on was pay. I wanted to see if I could increase my pay. So typically that's what engineers will do. They'll start looking for other opportunities if they're not able to get maybe the pay that they're looking for. So I moved on to the outside of aircraft, and I was working on nacelles, and we used to joke that they were high-tech mufflers. So it's all about keeping the aircraft silent and quiet. So when I was at Goodrich at the time before they got bought out, they had a program where I could earn my MBA. So again, it was like I was looking for opportunities to increase my knowledge, my skill set, if you will. So I was able to take advantage of that program. I got my MBA, and that was a really neat program. It couldn't have been easier to get because the professors would 90% of the time they would come on site to the facility and do the classes after work. So that was, and there was about 6 of us that did that. So yeah, so 2 different experiences, completely. But great experiences. The knowledge is you can't really put a price on it. So it helped, I guess, give me a well-rounded look on how things are made, and then also the cost and associated with that. So that being said, yeah, I did these things to increase my skill set. In the back of my mind, I've always wanted to be an air traffic controller. So, and I actually started applying when I got out of college. So I was doing dual tracks. One was engineering, one was air traffic control.
And you want to be an air traffic controller because of your experiences with your dad?
Yeah, and it just seemed like a really fun job, exciting job. In engineering, and I'll go off on a little tangent. In engineering, things can happen slow. Processes, things to get approved, certified. I mean, the certification process dealing with the FAA it's monstrous. It takes a long time because they want to make sure things are going to be safe for the flying public. So it takes a while for your ideas to come from your mind to a part that you've made. You don't really see the gratification until it's made in flying. So that could take a couple of years, 3 years. So in air traffic control, your daily routine is instant gratification every day. You're presented with different problems very quickly. So that for me, it kind of, I don't want to say engineering was ever boring per se, but it just took longer to feel the gratification of the work done. So air traffic control was a good fit for me. That was one of the things I was looking for, and also, why I changed. In engineering, you could be on a project, and they can ask you, "Hey, Connor, we want you to move to White Sands, New Mexico for maybe it's a top secret program or whatnot." And if you're not willing to move with the project, and if you do that a couple times with a company, they're gonna most likely not put you on any big projects, and it's difficult to move up in a company if you're saying no. So one of the things with air traffic control is that I would say it's a more stable job, with job security, and it's one of the few jobs out there where they still offer a pension. So I know you're a young man, but when you get older, you start planning for retirement. So air traffic control was going to give me that job security I was looking for, the pension, which is hard to come by nowadays. So those were the reasons why I left. And I remember HR when I gave my notice, she looked at me and she says, "Eric, are you crazy? Like, you want to be an air traffic controller? Are you nuts?" And I said, "Yeah, it's just something I want to try." So I left. I left on good terms, and I've been doing air traffic control for almost 11 years now.
And what is some advice you'd give to high schoolers or students in engineering college to help them with their engineering dreams or goals?
When you're in high school, I would say advice to high school students is is don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. When I say that, I mean maybe take an automotive mechanics class. See how things are put together. Use your hands, because it's a totally different when you're engineering a part or an assembly. Um, and if you have that hands-on experience, whether it's like, hey, I want to volunteer my time maybe at a auto body, like do the class with the auto body shop, or maybe you can get plugged in with they're called airframe A&P mechanics, airframe and power plant mechanics. These guys actually work on airplanes, and they can work on small airplanes. They work on jets. I'm not saying go out and get your A&P, but if you can, and they're out there, and you can reach out to these guys and maybe do a watch these guys work, or maybe you can help them work on some of their stuff. But because it gives you an appreciation of how things are put together. So the point is, when you're designing a part, it might be the greatest, lightest, most inexpensive part, but if a mechanic or a tech can't install it, and it's worthless. So so that's advice. When you're young, get your hands dirty, work on stuff, work on cars, see how they work. There's one of my favorite things when I was at San Diego State was the Rocket Club, and you can get that hands-on experience as well in colleges. If you find a program, if you want to get in aerospace, and you look for their rocket program, because that's pretty cool.
And what do you think a student should look for in colleges? You said programs. Is there any other things that students should look for in good engineering programs at colleges?
Yeah, so if you find the major you want to go to, you say you pick aerospace engineering, try to find the schools that through research, USA Weekly, I think it was, they can rank some of these colleges and their programs. So find the highest ranking school, and then the highest one you can get into. That's a good start. And then see if they have a good rocket program, because I can't say enough about the things I learned throughout that program. And also, one of the classes I took at San Diego State was offered. It was a SolidWorks 3D modeling class, and that is a pretty invaluable class. So if you get into a program, do the SolidWorks class, or do even better if they have CATIA, because that's what I started out with, was CATIA. And I'll tell you a quick thing. What my mentors used to tell me when I was learning how to use CATIA was, Eric, if you learn CATIA in this software, you could write your own meal ticket, meaning you could go in any industry and go to any company with that background, and you could get hired as I used to call them CATIA drivers. And that's really where you can start your engineering career, is learning 3D modeling and CATIA. So those are the things I would look for in programs in colleges and universities.
And how is your job now as air traffic controller changing and evolving with advancements in aircraft and AI and program management and stuff like that?
Well, in air traffic control, and one of the things in the government, things happen fairly slow. Changes happen slow in the government. I don't think. I think AI will enhance our jobs. It might make things a little bit easier. We're taking steps back in a sense where we're not maybe actively controlling the actual aircraft, because it's a very old system. It's voice. It's I talk, the pilot talks. I talk, the pilot talks, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, in a tower environment. Now, so I think AI is going to help with some of the automation. And when I say take a couple steps back, it'll mean where we're monitoring the situation. We're making sure that what the systems are doing the right thing. And so we'll be more of like a overview monitoring position in the future, right? I'd say it's still, if I was to guess, 10, 15 years before I saw any major changes in a tower environment. So,
and if you weren't an air traffic control or an engineer, what do you think you'd be doing? Do you think you'd be trying to become a pilot? Like you said, you like planes a lot. What would be your passion and career that you'd want to do?
Yeah, so I started engineering, went to ATC. And if I didn't have those two, I would probably be an airline pilot. Um, so and that's my goal after I can retire at ATC. And one of the nice things about air traffic control is you could retire early, and you could retire a fairly young man at 50 or 56, and go do something different. So that's my long-term goal, is to fly professionally, full-time after air traffic control. Yeah.
All right. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Eric. That'll be all for this episode. If you like this episode of An Engineer's Journey, don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment if I should do season 2, and comment any additional questions you'd like me to ask. That'll be all. Bye-bye.